Get ready to hear the truth about America on a show that's not immune to the facts with your host, Dan Bongino.
Oh boy, another spectacular failure faceplant up on Capitol Hill by Adam Schiff as he proposes a list of witnesses who show up and confirm, yes, Donald Trump's account of what happened. Ladies and gentlemen, this impeachment hoax is really getting disturbing. Listen, I've got a lot to get to today. I've got videos, I've got audio, I've got transcripts. I got the whole thing for you. Come here. This is the place in an hour. We will transcribe in an hour everything you need to know about this impeachment hoax. Welcome to the Dan Bongino Show. Producer Joseph Armacost, how are you today? Fine, sir.
Everything you need to know in an hour, baby.
Everything. That's Joe's famous tagline.
Good.
Yeah, folks, they got a big Colonel Vindman problem, by the way, which we'll get to in a second. I'm actually stunned. How unfamiliar with the source material Colonel Vindman was. It's really perplexing. Did anybody prepare him before he went up there to testify? This is quite bizarre. All right, let's get right to it, folks. Right. Today's show brought to you by our buddies at NetSuite. NetSuite by Oracle. It's the world's #1 cloud business system. We use NetSuite here because we need it, because we had a bunch of hodgepodge systems that weren't talking to each other. And listen, if you don't know your numbers, you don't know your business. We know our business now. Why? Because we use NetSuite by Oracle. This is a problem they set out to solve. Most companies don't have a clear picture of their finances, and that's why many businesses fail. The question for any business owner out there is, are you confident you've got the right numbers at your fingertips? Serious entrepreneurs and finance teams run on NetSuite by Oracle, the world's #1 cloud business system. NetSuite offers you a full picture of all your finances all in one place in real time, right from your phone or desktop. No more guessing, no more worry. Listen, folks, not knowing your numbers, not having systems that run seamlessly together, it could kill your company. That's why NetSuite customers grow 3 times faster than the S&P 500, and you can too. Schedule your free demo now and receive their free guide, 7 key strategies to grow your profits at netsuite.com/Bongino. Sign up for your free demo. You will not regret it. And get your free guide today at netsuite.com/Bongino, Bongino today. Don't miss out, folks. All right, let's go. Nice. Okay, so today they have Colonel Vindman and Jennifer Williams up on Capitol Hill, Volker later. And I'm telling you, folks, this is a disaster for the Democrats. I've got some polling data later. I mean, when I say polling data, Joe, I mean devastatingly awful polling data for the Democrats who are watching a massive faceplant into the concrete now as their entire impeachment hoax collapses and their witnesses actually confirm Trump's version of events. This is really almost comical in its hilarity, how poorly this thing is going for them. First, this was the excellent congressman from California, Devin Nunes, who has been all over the Spygate fiasco. This is part of his opening statement today at the Vindman impeachment testimony. It is, Tuesday? Tuesday. This is Nunes. Again, just explosive testimony, doing a great job up there. Check this out.
But if the Democrats and the media are suddenly so deeply concerned about bribery, you would think they would take some interest in Burisma paying Hunter Biden $83,000 a month. And you think they would be interested in Joe Biden threatening to withhold U.S. loan guarantees unless the Ukrainians fired a prosecutor who was investigating Burisma. That would be a textbook example of bribery. The media, of course, are free to act as Democrat puppets, and they're free to lurch from the Russia hoax to the Ukraine hoax at the direction of their puppet masters. But they cannot reasonably expect to do so without alienating half the country who voted for the president they're trying to expel. Americans have learned to recognize fake news when they see it, and if the mainstream press won't give it to them straight, they'll go elsewhere to find it, which is exactly what the American people are doing.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, boy. Nunes has kind of had enough of this. So has America. Believe me, when I get to the polling data run by Politico, you're going to see how badly this is going. Now, they have Lieutenant Colonel Vindman testifying today. And again, let me set the parameters for debate here because we are not going to be suckered into leftist narratives here or leftist, far left, radical leftist pressure campaigns. As I've said before, and I'll say again, as I've said about a lot of my political opponents, this isn't personal. And Colonel Vindman has served honorably in the United States military. I know that may bother some people. That's fine, and that's great, and I'm free to recognize that as I see fit. That has nothing to do with the veracity of his testimony today if it doesn't comport with the facts? Nothing.
Right.
And if you think for a moment you're going to pressure, send us the tweets of people attacking Vindman. Oh, we're going to scare everybody. We're not attacking Vindman. If what he says isn't true, it's not true. And what I find interesting about the talking point, Joe, that Colonel Vindman is above and beyond reproach and nothing he says is to be questioned at all, even though they're trying to overturn the votes of millions of Americans, is, as I've stated before, Joe, this principle, military officers are never to be questioned, ever, about anything. I find that odd that the same principle didn't apply to a decorated military officer by the name of Michael Flynn, an unquestioned American patriot who was attacked as a Russian traitor, a Russian agent, treasonous, an adulterous slanderer, a puppet for Vladimir Putin. Ladies and gentlemen, I could waste your time for hours printing articles about the vicious, scandalous, libelous, slanderous attacks on a decorated patriot like Flynn. So your leftist rules about don't question military officials, you can take it and stick it where you know. Because that's not your principle. You guys are total, complete liars and frauds. You destroyed the character of Mike Flynn with zero evidence of what you were saying was true. He was accused of lying to the FBI, pushed into a plea bargain after the FBI themselves stated they didn't believe he was lying. And you jumped to the conclusion that he was a traitor to this country? Hard pass on your virtue signaling fake morality. They've got a big Colonel Vindman problem going on right now. I'm watching the whole thing right here. And as always, you'll get it from me, the truth. They have two issues, folks. The things Vindman are saying about the alleged quid pro quo on the call between President Trump and the Ukrainian president-elect, and president now, are not true. That has nothing to do with Colonel Vindman's service to the country at all. They're just not. Is he confused? Is he not telling the truth? I don't know. I can't get in his head. Is somebody pushing him? They're not true, number one. And number two, Colonel Vindman has claimed, you can listen to the testimony yourself, that he is an expert on Ukraine multiple times. Ladies and gentlemen, he seems to be unaware of even basic facts in the case, as Congressman Nunes just summed up. Colonel Vindman's an expert on Ukraine. He claims to not know anything about Ukrainian interference in the election. You mean the Ukrainian interference already widely reported on between the Ukrainian embassy and Alexandra Chalupa, formerly of the DNC? That's the subject of a Ukrainian court case? How do you not know that? No. This is the subject matter expert who's unaware of only the biggest story going on in Ukraine right now about Ukrainian interference in the election to attack Donald Trump, as widely reported on by Politico, a left-leaning outlet. I'm an expert on Ukraine. What do you know about this story? I don't know. I've never read it. I'm sorry, folks. I'm throwing the penalty flag on this one. You can't, both of these things can't be true, Joe. You can't be an expert on Ukraine and be unaware of basic facts about Ukraine. I'm sorry, sir.
That's a Vindman problem, yeah.
That's a big Vindman problem.
Yeah, I'd say so.
The problems get worse.
It is what it is. Jeez.
Yeah, it is. It's bizarre. Here's some transcripts of Vindman's prior testimony behind closed doors. He keeps bringing this up, even today, that he allegedly heard Burisma on the call. He says, this is bizarre. He's asked about the transcript of the call and the process of the call and how the transcript of the call between Trump and Zelensky was processed. And he says, as you said, the normal process did not occur here. Vindman says it didn't. It did not. They ask him, they say, well, what was different? Listen to this slip of the tongue here. As opposed to going into the standard communication system, it went into a different type, a more secure system. And in this particular system, while I did have an account, it was not functioning properly. So I had to go analog and take a look get a hard copy of it. He's talking about the transcript. Annotate some changes to it. Return it. And I guess it went through a paper process. Let me read that line again. He's talking about he goes to access the transcript of the call, which, ladies and gentlemen, I want to keep this up here. I want to make crystal clear. The whistleblower himself has already acknowledged that it's standard practice that the transcript is word for word. Don't give me this isn't a transcript, it's a summary. Vindman says, his words, I want to get a hard copy of it to make some, and he annotates some changes to it. Really? What changes do you want to make? Oh, well, I kind of felt like Burisma was mentioned. Really? It wasn't. You think the whistleblower's complaint that started this whole thing would have said it was a word-for-word transcript if Burisma was mentioned? Don't you think they would have went through that and managed to fit that in otherwise? The company Hunter Biden, Joe Biden's kid, was working for, getting paid big bucks, the Ukrainian gas company, while Joe Biden himself was the point man on Ukraine discussing natural gas? Vindman wanted to make some changes? Interesting, isn't it? Annotate, Joe. Yeah. Annotate. He wanted to make some changes. Want to annotate. Fascinating how that works out. Again, all these concerns, the left doesn't seem to care about, what do you mean you were going to make some changes? Here's the second portion of his testimony. Testimony of others about Vindman. Again, we're not allowed to question, you're only allowed to question Mike Flynn and any military officer that supports Donald Trump's foreign policy. Those people you're allowed to shred. I said to Paula before the show, I said, and I meant it. I said, do you consider what I did? And it's an honest question, folks. I'm not saying this to be like, self-congratulatory or humble brag, because I don't feel that. I genuinely don't. I said to Paula, do you feel like what I did in the Secret Service was in any way service to the country? Which, by the way, I never, ever compare to the military. The military's level of service and commitment, I believe always, and I'm allowed to say because it was me, is far greater than what I ever did. It never hit me harder than when I was in Afghanistan doing the lead advance for the President of the United States. I was there for 2 weeks. I got to go home. The military folks didn't. My respect for the military is endless and far beyond what I think I did. But I asked my wife, I said, do you feel, is it considered service? And she said, yeah. And I wondered because if other people, and folks, I don't feel that way. I don't compare even close to what I did to what these military folks do. I don't, and I never will. How come, though, people who support the president like I do have even a basic level of service to the country, how come we're constantly shredded and character attacked by liberals every day? The answer is because that's not a principle, folks. Like, we can't attack people who serve the country. That's not a real principle. I'm not attacking Vindman personally. I don't know the man. I don't know his CV. I don't know his military record in detail. I know what he said, and I know the transcript. And I know it's perplexing that we have a subordinate officer to the President of the United States, the Commander-in-Chief, who wants to make changes to a document when the whistleblower himself has acknowledged the document is accurate. How is that not a problem? Again, if you're a media hack, none of this is a problem. Here's testimony about Vindman himself, which is frightening. The lawyer, Castor, who is questioning, I believe this is Morrison's testimony. And he says, listen, they're talking about Mr. Morrison says, I had concerns about Lieutenant Colonel Vindman's judgment. This is Morrison. This is Morrison, who is Vindman's superior in the NSC, his supervisor. This is Morrison saying he had concerns about Lieutenant Colonel Vindman's judgment. Why is this not relevant? The lawyer, Mr. Castor, says judgment with respect to what? Sorry, I read that in a little convoluted fashion. I just want to get to the point. Here's the answer from Morrison. Again, Vindman's boss. Among the discussions I had with Dr. Fiona Hill in the transition was our team, my team, its strengths and weaknesses. And Fiona Hill, and others had raised concerns about Alex's judgment. Ladies and gentlemen, why is this not relevant? These are, again, the career professionals you're not supposed to question, Joe. Fiona Hill and Morrison, apparently, according to Morrison himself, engaged openly in a conversation about the poor judgment of Colonel Vindman. Not my words. Their words. Read the transcript. You can't question his judgment. You can call Mike Flynn a traitor, a Russian agent, a Russian puppet, a Putin handmaiden. That's all fair and square. But when the career professionals you're bringing up as witnesses, Morris and others, openly question the judgment of Colonel Vindman, that's not fair. You can't ask that. I'm not. Morrison is. Just read the transcript. You want to impeach the President of the United States and discard the votes of millions of Americans who elected a foreign policy leader and a commander-in-chief, who a subordinate officer apparently heard something that nobody else has gone on the record, at least, to say formally that the transcript should be changed. He heard this mysterious thing. He wanted to make some changes, Vindman, and his judgment was openly being questioned by his boss. And we're not supposed to pay attention to any of this? I've got more, including where Vindman seems confused about the chain of command in the United States military. All right, before I get to that, ladies and gentlemen, I got to pay for the show. Today's show also brought to you by our buddies at Genucel. Genucel, everybody in my house uses Genucel. Go to Genucel.com, enter Dan30 at checkout for their special offer. It's Genucel. What is Genucel? Well, listen, Thanksgiving's only a week away, ladies and gentlemen. Still enough time to get rid of all those turkey necks. Gobble, gobble. Come on, Joe, give us a gobble. Thank you. Yes, on time. Yes. And sagging jawlines and get compliments around the dinner table. Get rid of that turkey neck. If you haven't tried Genucel's breakthrough jawline treatment with MDL technology, pick up the phone or go to Genucel.com right now. Order today, and Chamonix will include their classic Genucel eye bags and puffiness absolutely free. I use that at night before I go on TV. And you also receive their immediate effects for results you can use in 12 hours. I use that too, especially when I haven't slept a lot and I'm on TV. And for Thanksgiving, Genucel's offer gets better. You also get the top-selling Genucel eyelid lift for sagging, droopy eyelids, absolutely free. You'll give thanks this holiday for 10 years off your appearance, and everyone will see the difference, guaranteed, or 100% of your money back. That's the Chamonix promise. Go to Genucel.com, enter Dan30 at checkout, and from now until Thanksgiving, you'll also get the Genucel XV anti-wrinkle treatment for fine lines and wrinkles as a third free gift, and shipping is also free. Can't beat that. Order now at Genucel.com. Use Dan30 at checkout. That's Genucel, Genucel.com, Genucel.com. Dan30 at checkout. All right. So, folks, again, regarding Colonel Vindman, this is his testimony, okay? And this is the testimony of others openly questioning his judgment, despite the fact that the left, who viciously attacked Mike Flynn, say it's way out of bounds to question the veracity of Colonel Vindman's testimony. Colonel Vindman was fascinating in his own testimony. He seems to be confused about how foreign policy works in the United States. Check this out, portion number 3. So we had Vindman first, that was Morrison last, his testimony, and I believe we're back to Vindman on this one. Vindman, quote, I also had deep policy concerns. They ask him the question, so who sets the policy? Vindman's answer, well, the president sets the policy. Okay, so ask to leave the National Security Council. Vindman appears a little confused here about his role in this operation. Ladies and gentlemen, he said something during his testimony this morning. We'll have a lot of sound for you tomorrow on this too as well, so don't go anywhere. I'm trying to set you up in advance why all of this is one big hoax. This morning, Vindman said, well, what Trump was doing on the phone was against basically the consensus foreign policy. Ladies and gentlemen, there is no consensus foreign policy. Can you put that back up? Vindman's crystal clear. He's confused. He understands at one point that the president sets foreign policy, and then he says this morning, well, what President Trump said was against the, quote, consensus foreign policy. Let me read it again. So who sets the policy? Vindman. The president sets the policy. Ladies and gentlemen, there is no consensus foreign policy. Have you read the Constitution? That's not how any of this works. There is a consensus on people allowed to give input, the National Security Council, maybe House and Senate leaders, the cabinet, the chief of staff, the president's personal advisors. It's been done forever. President can get foreign policy from whoever he wants, advice that is. The president sets the foreign policy. Ladies and gentlemen, Anyone who tells you there's a consensus foreign policy seriously needs to go read the Constitution. There is no such thing. I don't know what Vindman is talking about. If his beef in this whole thing and his reason for being there is he objects to the president's foreign policy, then he can resign his position on the NSC, ask to be removed. He can leave his job when his time is up in the military. He can run for office. Again, I did it. I left my job. Government pension, healthy benefits, everything. I would never expected any pats on the back. I lost. It was hard. I lost. Don't cry for me, Argentina. It was nobody sobbing for me. We moved on and we did something else.
Yeah.
I didn't like the policy of the White House. I was proud to protect the president, President Bush, President Obama, President Clinton. Proud to do it. I didn't agree with the policy in the White House. My position, given the Hatch Act, I was unable to participate in politics as I saw fit. You know what I did? I left. Again, it's not a pat on the back. It's just a basic fact. Vindman's free to do the same thing when his time in the military's up. There's nothing being a former military officer when he's done that prohibits him from running for office because he doesn't like the president's foreign policy. Nothing. Right. Have at it. God bless you. Good luck. You can convince 60 plus million people to vote for you. You can become president too, Colonel Vindman. Just a fact. Finally, this is fascinating. Here's another piece of testimony regarding Colonel Vindman that was just really interesting. They asked Morrison, who is, again, Vindman's boss, quote, question to Morrison, you did not say that he, Vindman, expressed to you concern that something illegal or proper had occurred that should be reported to the National Security Council's legal counsel. Morrison, I have no recollection of him doing so. Is that something, as his direct report, you would have expected him to do if he had that concern? Yes. And you would have had a recollection if he did so. Morrison, yes. In other words, ladies and gentlemen, Colonel Vindman was so concerned about foreign policy, he didn't even make a report to his boss or the legal counsel that his boss is even aware of. Folks, I'm sorry, but I'm just astonished that people are buying into this. I can't believe. I swear, I think that Vindman and Williams were witnesses for Nunes, the GOP, and President Trump. What did Jennifer Williams say this morning? Again, I'll have a boatload of sound and everything for you tomorrow. I'm giving you the primer you have now because all of this is collapsing. Jennifer Williams, Vice President staff, who testified this morning. She testified she doesn't know why the money was held up. Wait, I thought the money was held up, the security aid money, Joe, because they wanted information on Biden. She doesn't know that. Again, is this a witness for the GOP or for Schiff? Also, Joe, there was a September 18th call between Mike Pence, the vice president, Zelensky, where he expressed their unwavering support for Ukraine. Oh, this is their witness. This is their witness, the Democrats. Oh my gosh, folks. I cannot believe we are doing this right now. This is such an obvious cover-up for what I discussed yesterday, which I'm going to dig into again today. The Democrat Spygate, Whistleblowergate hoax. It's the same scandal. The Ukrainian alleged by Nellie Orr to have fed them dossier information on Trump to spy on him is the same Ukrainian the witnesses against Trump are alleged to have pushed to not prosecute. It's the same scandal. This is all a hoax. This is a hoax. This whole thing is being made up to distract you from the biggest political scandal in American history. Ukrainians wanted Trump spied on, worked with Hillary, and those same Ukrainians, Obama-era Democrat officials, wanted not prosecuted and not investigated. It is no more complicated than that. All right, I want to get to this poll in a second because it's devastating for the Democrats. It is devastating. This whole thing is bizarro Captain Boomerang. Boomeranging right in their face and slamming them in the face. Today's show also brought to you by buddies at Omax Health. Omax Health. Try their CryoFreeze. We'd be lost without it. Visit omaxhealth.com and use our promo code Bongino, my last name. We love Omax Health. Why? In this house, listen. Yeah, Paula's like, I need it right now. She's having neck pain. She slept funny. Listen, you're an athlete, weekend warrior, somebody who deals with constant joint pain like me. I have bad arthritis, back pain, muscle soreness. Finding a natural remedy that works may seem really difficult. Most over-the-counter pain relievers, such as this Icy Hot and Bengay, only focus on one basic cooling effect, such as menthol, which temporarily takes your mind off the pain until the pain returns in an hour or so. Here's the solution. Get rid of that nagging muscle and joint pain like we do in this house. I love this stuff. I really can't recommend it highly enough, while providing long-lasting recovery. You need to try their natural breakthrough pain relief solution, Omax CryoFreeze. Folks, I'm not kidding. Paula, this morning, we moved, and we're having a hard time finding the CryoFreeze. Looks like a roll-on with menthol and CBD, a non-prescription triple-action cryotherapy roll-on, formulated to block pain receptors and reduce inflammation. Paula's like, my neck hurts. Please, we were hunting around the house endlessly for the CryoFreeze this morning. My mother-in-law loves it. She has a really bad ankle, right? She took it, right? That's what happened. I think my mother-in-law kept it at the other house. She has it. This stuff is the best. The best part is it's 100% natural. Again, it looks like a roll-on deodorant with menthol. First, you get the freeze, and then you get the long-lasting pain relief. The CBD-powered remedy works its magic within 10 minutes of application, sometimes less, and relief lasts up to 8 hours, folks. It is fantastic. We love it. I really can't recommend it highly enough. Simply roll it on the area where it hurts. I wish I had one in front and show you where it works. And ice the pain out with an Arctic blast. Folks, Omax is offering my listeners 20% off, 20, off a 1-month supply of Omax CryoFreeze plus free shipping. This discount also applies to any product site-wide. Go to Omax, OMAXHealth.com today. OMAXHealth.com. Enter code Bongino to take advantage of this incredible savings. That's OMAXHealth.com. Enter code Bongino to get 20% off Omax CryoFreeze and site-wide. Get rid of that muscle pain. Enter promo code Bongino. Go to omaxhealth.com today. Enter promo code Bongino for 20% off. Get that active lifestyle going. Get rid of the muscle soreness. Don't let it be an excuse. Folks, omaxhealth.com, promo code Bongino. You're going to love this stuff. It is legitimately that good. Go check it out. So as I said, folks, this is a catastrophic, and I mean that. Listen, I am a conservative. I do facts and data on the show, but I don't hide my partisan leaning. You obviously know that. I am telling you with a straight face, I've put my partisan hat, I've taken it, and I put it in the closet for a minute. This is a catastrophic disaster, this impeachment hoax for the Democrats. I'm going to point to 2 data points here. A quote, a direct quote, it's fact, data, and I'm going to point to actual data, a poll conducted by Politico's Morning Consult. Politico, again, a left-leaning outlet, very rarely interested in the facts. Politico ran a poll on impeachment. Now, rather than showing you the 220-page poll or whatever, I'm going to show you a tweet by my good friend and astute political observer, Eddie Zipperer, who actually does political science for a living. Eddie put this tweet up that is just devastating for the Democrats. He is at Eddie Zipperer. I encourage you to follow him. He does really terrific work. You can see on the YouTube here. Here it goes. Quote, huge shift, folks. Newest Morning Consult poll shows a 20-point shift in impeachment support amongst independents. What? Get a load of this. Before the impeachment hearings, they had impeachment at plus 15 amongst independents. Plus 15, impeach them. Now they show support at minus 5 among independents. If you want to read the 269-page poll with the crosstabs, you can follow him at Eddie, E-D-D-I-E, Zipperer. At Twitter, he has the link on it right there. Ladies and gentlemen, this is devastating. Ultimately, it's going to be independents who break either pro or against Trump who are going to decide this election. To have a 20-point swing after your public impeachment hoax where your folks, Adam Schiff is calling the witnesses. The Democrats run the House right now. They have the majority. He is dictating the rules, the witness list, everything. This is his creation. A 20-point shift after the hearing started. Do you understand what an apocalyptic disaster that is? Folks, this is data. This is actual data. A 20-point shift. Ladies and gentlemen, I assure you, this is not going to end well. Now, think about this, Joe, how much worse this has the potential to get.
Oh, yeah.
Adam Schiff controls the House with Nancy Pelosi via the Democrat majority. They don't control the Senate. The Republicans and McConnell do.
Ooh.
When this thing leaves the House, if they vote on articles of impeachment and a trial starts in the Senate, right as the Iowa caucus is going on, and the Republicans get to control the witness list and the proceedings, oh boy, ladies and gentlemen, this thing is going to get ugly fast. Now, I'll give you one more fact. Again, what we do on this show, unlike the left-wing media. Here is a quote by Nancy Pelosi showing you the panic brewing on the Democrat side. Smile a little bit because this thing is a total disaster. Here's a piece by Virginia Kruta, which I'll put up at my show notes today. Please check them out, Bongino.com. Please subscribe, Bongino.com/newsletter, by the way. Bongino Report coming very soon, so check that out, Bongino.com/newsletter. Subscribe. I'll get you this piece. Daily Caller, Pelosi blows off impeachment critics, says it's weak and dangerous to let the election decide. Oh my God. Is there a screenshot from that? I mean, no, sorry, it's just a headline. Folks, she is in a panic. She's in a panic. She is actually openly, Joe, admitting now that the election is what they're really worried about. That the election is what freaks them out.
Right.
That it is dangerous to let she's totally, completely melting down. Folks, I want you to remember something. Impeachment is not a criminal prosecution. It was designed to be a form of prosecution of the president for high crimes, misdemeanors, treason, and bribery. But it is not a criminal prosecution. Don't make that mistake. It is ultimately a political event. Political events designed to change the political winds of the country, folks, are based exclusively on the accumulation of political capital, arguments in your favor, which will change the public consensus in your direction. How do we determine what the public consensus is? I don't mean to sound overly wonky, but this is an important point. By polling, by asking actual people how they feel about the arguments each side is making. When your best three witnesses, you thought, Taylor, Yovanovitch, and Kent testify, and a poll is taken afterwards, and you lose 20 percentage points of support amongst independents, who, by the way, aren't even Trump supporters, many of them? Oh, ladies and gentlemen, you are in a world of trouble. Smile a little bit. This hoax is being exposed. The real collusion scandal is being exposed, and the Democrats are in a complete panic. Now, showing you how much of a panic they're in, again, in conjunction with their media bootlicking, surgically attached lips to the caboose of the Democrat Party. What did I tell you last week about who the main media antagonist is going to be? Remember, the media is trying to tell you, Joseph, a story, not the story. The story the media wants to tell you, their version of it, their narrative, is that this entire Ukrainians were working with Americans to attack Trump, and the do not prosecute list was an effort to cover that up. You all familiar? I'm going to get to it in a second.
Right.
Who is the primary person who told that story to America through his, I believe, Pulitzer Prize level reporting? Who was that person? It's John Solomon, who used to write for The Hill, who Bob Cusack from The Hill should be embarrassed that he runs The Hill. I know Bob. I met him in green rooms. He's always been a nice guy to me. But I'm telling you, Bob, as a former friend, that statement you put out about John Solomon, how we're reviewing his reporting, is quite pathetic. I'm sorry, but you and you're kind of dead to me after that. Really disgusting. I want you to look at a tweet from the Washington Post to show you how dangerous John Solomon's expose of this whole tie between Whistleblowergate and Spygate. I want you to see how desperate the Democrats and their media activists at the Washington Post are to make all of this go away. This is an actual tweet from the Washington Post. Let me read this for you. The Hill is reviewing the work of former opinion contributor John Solomon. By the way, another hit piece. Joe, this is now what, the second or third I've shown you now?
Yeah.
Was it
second
the
or third.
Times? That's what the Washington Post, they are Eric Wemple, others. It never, ever ends, folks. John Solomon has made 3 points, which I'm going to break down in a moment from his own report. All of these articles will be in the show notes, including Solomon's from John Solomon Reports. I want to distill this down very simply. Many of you liked yesterday's show where I explained the open, blatant connection between Spygate and Ukrainegate and the reason they're trying to distract you from those things. I can't say this enough. The same people involved in feeding false information to the government to spy on Trump were the same people our government tried to hide from prosecution in Ukraine, to hide their scandal. That's the scandal. Period. Stop. Solomon has made 3 points regarding this that have now been confirmed by the Democrats' own witness list, and the media is still, instead of celebrating this patriotic reporter who has exposed the biggest scandal of our time, instead of celebrating him, the Washington Post is engaged in a full-blown gaslighting propaganda attack to destroy the reputation of this excellent reporter who scooped him on the biggest story of our time. Here's the Solomon information that has him terrified. He has it summed up in his excellent new piece titled Impeachment Surprise: How Adam Schiff Validated My Reporting on Ukraine by John Solomon. Piece will again be up in the show notes. Go to bongino.com/newsletter. I will email these to you every day. Here are the 3 points which have the Democrats, the Rhino Republicans, the anti-Trump, never-Trumper crowd, and the media sycophants terrified, that are now all confirmed by Schiff's own hearing. Put it up so we can read through this. Quoting from Solomon's piece. Here's point number 1 that has them horrified, folks. Hunter Biden, of course, Joe Biden's son, his hiring by the Ukrainian gas firm Burisma Holding, while it was under a corrupt investigation, posed the appearance of a conflict of interest for his father. Not in dispute, folks. That's because Vice President Biden oversaw U.S.-Ukraine policy and forced the firing, it's on videotape, of the Ukrainian prosecutor overseeing the case, I may add, against his son's company. Indisputable fact that is driving the media crazy. There is nothing they can do to dispute that. Biden is on tape. Hunter Biden worked there. We have the bank records, and it is a known fact that Biden, Joe Biden, vice president, was the point man in Ukraine while his son got this lucrative position with a company under investigation. None of that is in dispute. It has been confirmed. Yovanovitch and George Kent, Adam Schiff's own witnesses, acknowledged, if you watch yesterday's show and the video I've been playing, that this presented a conflict of interest problem. Confirmed. Oh, he's looking at the spike. I love to see that on the Adobe Audition. Let's see it again. Confirmed. The verdict is in. What are you questioning about Solomon's reporting? What about, I'm asking you this, media hacks on point number 1. Media losers. What part of that is not true? Did Hunter Biden not work at Burisma? Did you not see the bank records? He's never denied it. Was Burisma not under investigation? Again, these are government documents in Ukraine about an investigation. Nobody's questioning them. Did Biden not request on, is that tape doctored where he's demanding the firing of the person looking into his son's company? Did that not happen? Is that a deep state fake or something? Nobody's questioning the veracity of it. None of this, was Biden not the point man on Ukraine? It's all documented. Let's go to point number 2, which again has the media in a panic, and it's been confirmed, and the media, it's a conspiracy theory. 2, quoting Solomon reports, Ukraine officials had an uneasy relationship with our embassy in Kiev because State Department officials exerted pressure on Ukraine prosecutors to drop certain cases against activists, including one group partly funded by George Soros. Folks, the Soros charity-funded group Antac, George Kent from the State Department, they're already on the record confirming that they exerted pressure against Ukrainians to not prosecute this Soros-funded group. Did you read the transcript? Are you even doing journalism? Can you not read? Do you need to take an SAT course in basic reading comprehension? It's already confirmed. I got this lunatic tweeting me on Twitter. It's hysterical. No, it's not confirmed. It's not what Ken said. Oh my God. Did you read the transcript? They've already admitted to this. He didn't say there was a do not prosecute. Oh, okay. Here's what we did. I love the left. This is it, Joe. If you're not, see, I'm already familiar with this game, so I just dismiss it. Let me just quickly give you a brief tutorial on how to debate the left and what they do. The left loves the euphemism game. They will never, ever call you out on the substance of what you say because what the substance of what you say is true. So what they do is they do this verbal judo euphemisms game. They'll say, he's lying. Kent never admitted to a do not prosecute list. So he didn't use the words do not prosecute. They used the words what? There was an effort to stop investigations. In other words, not to prosecute people. That's what you're saying. No, it's different. It's different. It's not a spy, Joe. Stephen Halper wasn't a spy. He was an undocumented human informant for the government. Oh, okay. You really nailed this. Okay. Yeah. Oh, where's that? You have that sound? Oh, yes. Now we all get it. I mean, thank you. The euphemism game. This is what they do. It wasn't, Kent didn't admit to a do not prosecute list. They just admitted to asking people to not prosecute people. Oh, gosh, you got me on that one. Damn it. I wish I had my facts straight.
Got to be careful.
Got to be careful, Joe. Yeah, totally screwed that one up.
Careful.
We didn't say do not prosecute. We just said do not prosecute, but it wasn't on a list. We just said it. Oh, I'm sorry. Jeez. The media, totally unconcerned about any of this. Finally, Solomon takeaway number 3, which terrifies them the most. There were efforts around Ukraine in 2016 to influence the U.S. election that included a request from a Democrat National Committee contractor for dirt on Manafort, an op-ed from Ukraine's ambassador openly slamming Trump, and the release of law enforcement evidence by Ukrainian officials that a Ukraine court concluded was an improper interference in the U.S. election. Ladies and gentlemen, the Ukrainians colluded with Democrats to harm Trump. One of the people implicated by Nellie Orr from Fusion GPS, hired by the Democrats to harm Trump politically, was Ukrainian. And it's the same guy, Lyshenko, that appears on the Do Not Prosecute effort. That is the scandal. Mm-hmm. That's the hoax you're witnessing here. It's no more, all of this is a hoax. This is just a made-up Adam Schiff, Nancy Pelosi, media-driven sideshow about a non-scandal, non-transcript, non-quid pro quo, non-deal phone call to distract you from these 3 major stories. Biden and his corruption overseas, the pressure to drop cases against connected liberal mega donors in Ukraine, and the Ukrainian effort to interfere in the 2016 election to hurt Donald Trump. That's all this is. But the Democrats and their media allies are seemingly entirely, completely uninterested in doing basic reporting. Matter of fact, as I'm going to get to next, Real Clear Investigations, I believe it's Eric Felton, has a great piece up in the show notes today about the appalling double standard in the fake news media about what constitutes evidence and what doesn't. One final sponsor today, another great company we're happy to have on board, is Candid Company. Ladies and gentlemen, Candid Company, visit them at candidco.com/Bongino. Use my promo code Bongino for $75 off. We love Candid Company. I recommend them highly. Ladies and gentlemen, it's that time of year. It's time to share smiles and good times with friends and family and exchange gifts. How about giving yourself a gift? The gift of self-confidence. How do you get it? By having straighter, brighter teeth with help from Candid. Candid's aligners can help straighten your teeth faster and cheaper than traditional wire braces. You believe that? Unbelievable. Treatment takes just 6 months on average and costs 65% less. An experienced orthodontist who is licensed in your state creates a custom treatment plan. They show you a 3D preview. You can see how your teeth are going to look. They're going to look fabulous after you're done. Candid's aligners are comfortable, removable, and completely invisible. There's no hassle of going to the orthodontist's office. Candid ships your aligners directly to you. Plus, in the season of giving, Candid donates $25 with each aligner purchased to Smile Train. It's a very nice one. It brings safe, 100% free cleft lip and palate treatment to children around the globe. Give yourself the gift of Candid today. Go to candidco.com/Bongino, Bongino, my last name, and use promo code Bongino to get $75 off. That's a nice savings. Your teeth are going to look amazing after this. That's candidco.com/Bongino, code Bongino for $75 off. Candidco.com/Bongino, code Bongino for $75 off. Check them out today. So as I said, there is a spectacular piece of actual journalism done in Real Clear Investigations about the double standard in the media of what constitutes evidence anymore. Again, we're beyond the evidence stage. We have factual sworn evidence now that everything I just told you about John Solomon's groundbreaking case about why Spygate and Ukrainegate are the same scandal. We now have factual, documented, sworn on the record evidence that all of it's true. But the media seems to be very confused about what evidence even is anymore. Here's the piece by Eric Felton, Real Clear Investigations, analysis. Media's Biden standard of no evidence is a double standard. Great piece. But the opening few paragraphs really nails the media to the wall. Check this out, about how phony and fraudulent they are. Felton says, for 3 years, many of journalism's most prestigious news outlets won acclaim for making and repeating claims that President Trump and his team had colluded with Russia to steal the election. No accusation, folks, from secret meetings in Prague that didn't happen, to tales of prostitutes peeing on beds didn't happen, was deemed unfit to print. When they wanted to signal to readers that they were conveying claims instead of facts, they hedged with words like, well, it's unverified or not yet proved. Those were their favorites. And they strongly suggested, Joe, that confirmations of these hoaxes, I might add, were on the way. Let's call that, Joe, the Trump standard. Print an unsubstantiated piece of garbage and suggest that, even though it's unverified, it's coming soon.
Okay.
And he goes on, Felton. Let's compare this with the Biden standard. Now that these same fake, phony, fraud, I'll add, news outfits are observing a new standard of proof, at least when it involves former VP Biden and his son Hunter, who enjoyed a lucrative relationship with a Ukrainian gas company. This new norm, Joe, demands that absent definitive proof, which I might add we've already provided, assertions must be labeled, Joe, as without evidence or said not to be supported or supported by no evidence. Folks, do you understand we are in an Orwellian nightmare? I'm not kidding. I don't know what to tell you. I read that line, I'm sorry, a while ago. I forgot who it was from, Havelock Ellis or Ayn Rand. I can't even remember. About how it's not just that they'll start to believe the lies. It's that people will fail to discern truth and sources and truthful sources from the fake ones anymore, and everything just becomes a hodgepodge of a mess. Folks, I'm telling you that the story that's being told to you about Joe Biden and Spygate is a documented, on the record, factually and data supported paper trail of scandal. And you're being led to believe it's a hoax, while a real hoax, the PP tape, the meetings in Prague, a quid pro quo that never happened, is being perpetrated upon you through media allies, and the hoax is believed to be true while the truth is believed to be a hoax. I don't even know what to tell you. I'm telling you, we're living in an Orwellian nightmare, folks. It's really deeply so disturbing. All right, I want to get to a couple more things. Don't go anywhere, including, I'll leave you with a little bit of humor today. Some of you know where I'm going to go with this, but I can't. I usually don't cover stuff like this. Even Paula was like, don't do it, but it's blown up on net. Don't go anywhere. Some of you know what I'm talking about. Some of you don't.
Say.
Yeah, blown up. Pun intended. Just one quick thing. Hat tip Mike Lee and others, even Justin Amash, who I could not disagree strongly against his ridiculous attacks on Donald Trump, which are absurd, but for standing up against this, folks, be very concerned. Look at this CR. I want you to see the highlights in the CR, this bill being pushed through. Oh, look what they're trying to squeeze in, Joe. A reauthorization of the Patriot Act.
Yes.
Why would they be trying to squeeze that in the CR, the Patriot Act? In other words, the data collection, all the stuff that was used to spy on Donald Trump and others. Oh, maybe because what's coming out soon? Oh, that's right, ladies and gentlemen, the IG report.
Oh.
So Mike Lee and others have now been sounding the alarm. Ladies and gentlemen, this continuing resolution, this government funding bill, here's the scam. They're trying to slip in reauthorization of these data collection, these NSA programs and others right before the IG report comes out that exposes these data collection programs. That CR can wait a little bit till we have the information, don't you think? Let's take a little TO on that one. Funny how they're trying to slip that in now. Again, hat tip Mike Lee for calling him out on that at a Senate hearing the other day. Okay, moving on. I'd be remiss if I didn't talk about this disgraceful episode. Some of you asked me why I didn't apply the Bongino rule to this story. Ladies and gentlemen, I did. Chick-fil-A, I don't know what they're thinking. Listen, I don't want to engage in unnecessary pylons at this point, but I have a piece up at the show notes that's a must-read. Chick-fil-A caved and ended some Christian charitable donations thanks to liberal pressure campaigns. Folks, listen, you do what you want. Chick-fil-A's done a lot of great work over the years. I'm sure they'll continue to do some good work in other arenas. I'm done. I'm out. The story goes like this. They were donating to the Salvation Army. There was a fake generated controversy last week where a singer, Ellie Goulding, who was scheduled to sing in an event at a football game. Try to follow this. It's a little confusing, but Audience Ombudsman Joe, if I don't make sense, please let me know. Ellie Goulding's apparently a very popular singer. She was scheduled to sing at a football game. The event was partially being worked in conjunction with the Salvation Army. Ellie Goulding was subjected to some lying campaign about the Salvation Army. She's like, I'm not speaking there if the Salvation Army doesn't support LGBT groups. The whole thing became a mess. It is not true. The Salvation Army doesn't discriminate. It's just total garbage and nonsense. So what happened, of course, Chick-fil-A, which had been a stalwart supporter of conservative America for a long time, caved and said, well, we're not donating to the Salvation Army anymore. Now, some of you said, well, why didn't you observe the Bongino rule? There was no Bongino rule. The statement from the guy representing Chick-fil-A in the article, in, what is it, Biznow or Bindow? It was his statement. We're not donating to Chick-fil-A. There's no Bongino rule. It was his statement. The Bongino rule, by the way, waiting 24 to 72 hours, applies with anti-Trump stories from fake news media, not from direct quotes from people in Chick-fil-A saying, we're not donating to this company anymore, or this charity. It's not the Bongino. People are like upset. No one's denying Chick-fil-A is not donating to the Salvation Army anymore. I'm telling you, they succumbed to a pressure campaign by liberal activist groups. Salvation Army put out a statement, by the way, strongly stating that they serve more than 23 million individuals a year, including those in the LGBTQ community. In fact, they write, we believe we're the largest provider of poverty relief to the LGBTQ population. Folks, this is incredible. Go make a donation to the Salvation Army Day and stick it to Chick-fil-A. And by the way, I believe it's Dana Lash. This is her line, never bow to the rage mob. It's not mine. I tweeted yesterday. I had tipped her. Ladies and gentlemen, never, ever genuflect before these leftist lunatics. You will never, they will attack you the moment after you cower in fear before them like Donald Trump never does. Surely, ladies and gentlemen, they celebrated Chick-fil-A yesterday. The leftist groups, right, Joe? Surely, because Chick-fil-A bowed to their demands to not donate to the Salvation Army. No, they didn't. Here's a tweet by Chad Felix Green. Here is GLAAD, a leftist activist group. Here's their response. In addition to refraining from financially supporting anti-LGBTQ organizations, the Salvation Army isn't, by the way, it's totally fake. Chick-fil-A still lacks policies to ensure safe workplaces for LGBTQ employees and should unequivocally speak out against the anti-LGBTQ representation that their brand represents. Folks, folks, everyone is welcome here. Everybody. I had a long conversation with an old friend yesterday. Very religious guy. I'm not going to say his name because he'll be targeted by people too. but a good friend and a good man. He's been very successful. A Christian, as I am proud to say that. Everybody's welcome here on this show. Everybody. I don't stand in judgment. I don't. I have a set of values sometimes I don't live up to. We're all sinners, ladies and gentlemen, but I don't stand in judgment of anybody. You're all welcome here. But I'm telling you as an unequivocal statement of fact, if you think bowing to the far left rage mob like Chick-fil-A did, despite their decades of public service and charity, if you think you are going to score a single point with radical leftists eager to destroy anything left, anybody who dares stand in their way, then you have been grotesquely misled. And I'm sorry, Chick-fil-A, but that was a disastrous decision. Bongino rule applies. If they change their mind, I'll be happy to let you know. You do what you want. I'm done. I'm out. Sorry about that. All right, disappointing, folks. What do we have next? Photos. You know what, Paul, let's skip that. Can we skip that Wall Street Journal story? Because I want to get to this at the end. Let me leave you on a little bit of a lighter note, given all the impeachment fiasco, Chick-fil-A folding on us and everything else. The puns literally write themselves, as Joe is clever enough to figure them out. I'm usually not. I'm not as witty as Armacost half the time. So Eric Swalwell. Now, Joe, is this your version of it or is this the real? I'm just checking because I don't want to. Is this your enhanced version?
I sent you the enhanced version, but
okay. I just want to be clear on what we're doing because I do facts.
I think we're using the regular version here. I think.
Oh, okay. All right. We'll see in a minute. We'll see. I'm surprised too, so we'll see in a moment what comes up. Okay. What comes out. The puns write themselves. They do. You. I wasn't trying.
I know.
Well, let's get to it. So, Eric Swalwell, collusion hoaxer and impeachment hoaxer, was on MSNBC last night. Ooh. And about 5 or 6 seconds into a live on-air interview, there was an issue. I don't know how else to describe it. Let me play this cut, and you can decide for yourself. I believe this is real, so check this out.
Taxpayer dollars to ask the Ukrainians to help them cheat an election. And the complaint that I've heard from Republicans.
The Dave soundboard.
Oh, that was
folks, that's the real one. Joe Gay sent me an enhanced version, which is quite funny, by the way. And when I say enhanced, I mean he added a little bass, Joe, a little baritone maybe to the sound effect.
Rumble.
A little rumble. That is the real. That is real. It's not a joke. It's on MSNBC's website. That is an interview with Swalwell where apparently, because this has turned into a major, he has a gaseous emanation from the other end of his body during a live interview. That's not, again, we didn't doctor that one. Joe sent me a funny one. Maybe we'll play that one on tomorrow's show. But folks, as I said last night on Twitter, I'm sorry, I'm like legit crying here because I can't. When this first happened, I swear I thought this was a hoax. That is real. That is not a joke. I am not being funny. That is a real MSNBC clip. If you go to their own website, you can listen yourself on the interview of Eric Swalwell having an intestinal problem on live. I don't know what, and you got to see the faces he makes. Go to youtube.com/Bongino. Look at his face.
Oh, yeah.
Watch about a second in. He looks like he's trying to what do you say, Joe? How do you say that? He's trying to hold it in, engage in a muscular contraction on the wrong end of his body.
Yeah.
So Eric Swalwell, who can I put up Eric Swalwell's tweet because he's finally come through with his threats, Joe? Remember when Eric Swalwell threatened this guy on Twitter that the government has nukes, too many of them? Eric Swalwell's finally come through, folks, and nuked America. Finally, Congressman Swalwell is a man of his word. He threatened that the government has nukes, and he certainly used that nuke yesterday on live TV. Woo. Poor Eric. He's, of course, again, in the interest of facts and doing actual journalism about gaseous emissions gate, whatever you want to call it. Swalwell is disputing this account of gaseous emissions, and Hardball, the show the puns write themselves. Hardball, the show I'm not even trying. The show he was on is claiming that sound you heard, which sounds like the wrong end of Eric Swalwell speaking, is actually a mug being dragged across the desk in the studio. Folks, I've been on TV many times, as you know. Joe has been in radio for, 30 years. Joe, I'm going to tell you, I am leaning strongly that Swalwell ate a bean burrito before he went on the air and couldn't control it. And if you believe that nonsense, it was a mug being dragged. You probably believe in the collusion hoax too. Sorry, folks. I think you know exactly what that was. Oh, boy. Hey, thanks again for tuning in. I really appreciate it. Thanks to everyone who listened to my interview with President Trump. It exploded on our YouTube and our account. Thanks very much, and who shared it. Please go to our newsletter, Bongino.com/newsletter, The Bongino Report, coming soon. Also, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/Bongino. We have some alternatives coming soon, but the only way to find out is going to be on the video channel. So we got what we got so far, youtube.com/Bongino. Thanks a lot, folks. More on this impeachment hoax tomorrow, so don't miss it. See you tomorrow. Hey, thanks for tuning in. Today's show was brought to you by my buddies at Brickhouse Nutrition. They make some of the finest nutrition supplements on the market. My personal favorite is Foundation. Now, you don't hear anything shaking in there. Why? Because the bottle is empty, because I use it. I love this product. Check it out. Foundation. It is a creatine ATP blend. Does 3 things. Look better, feel better, perform better. Go give it a shot. Go to brickhousenutrition.com/Dan. Try out this creatine ATP blend and take the mirror test. If you don't believe me, take the mirror test. Before you try Foundation, right? Go check it out. Give it about 7 days to work. Take a little mental snapshot of yourself in the mirror. Look at yourself after 7 days. You're going to love this product. Go check it out. brickhousenutrition.com/Dan. Check out Foundation today. Can't recommend it highly enough. Bottle's empty. Miles, the owner of the company, send me some more. Thanks for tuning in, folks. See you all later.
You just heard The Dan Bongino Show. You can also get Dan's podcasts on iTunes or SoundCloud. And follow Dan on Twitter 24/7 @DBongino.